Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of this series called Metal Made in Mexico, in which we're going to be bringing you some of the most representative bands in our country so that you can get to know them even better. And for this episode, we have Rose Contreras, who is the guitar player for the death metal band Introtyl. How are you, Rose?
I'm good, thank you.
Could you please give us a quick introduction of the band? How long have you been together? The albums you have released? Just kind of a quick uh,
Presentation.
presentation.
Yes, Introtyl is a death metal band from Mexico City. We have been playing together for almost 10 years now. Yes, and we have released just two albums, Inside of Violence and Creation of Insanity. And we're going to release the new one will be in June. Next June will be released our third album. So we're very happy because of that. And yes, intro to the lineup is Kari in vocals, Sarah in the bass, me in the guitars, and Annie in drums.
How would you describe the band's sound?
Explosive. No, I mean, we played death metal and we were so influenced by North American death metal, but also hardcore bands and some thrash metal. And we love that our songs go straight since the first riff. It's like so smashing, and it makes like a strong sound for us. No ambient part, no melodic riffs. It's just smashing and with breakdowns.
And how would you describe your personal sound as a guitar player? And in here, you can go into which guitar you use and effects and amps and what you like.
Mhm. My sound, I can describe it as powerful. At least it's how it makes me feel when I play guitars. But I think my sound is clear. It's a clear sound. It's strong, but it's also clear, and it's not raw because I'm not that much into using a lot of gain in distortion, because sometimes it makes the sound like more chaotic in guitars, and I don't like that. I prefer to keep the gain in the medium level. And the guitar I use is a Jackson Kelly, which I love so much. The distortion equipment that I use is from Line 6, from Electro Harmonics also. And what else? What else? What else? I love to boost the bass in my sound. I love to boost the bass and to put the mids in the middle, just in the middle. So I think that makes the sound like more wider. So even more in palm muting. So it's how I can describe my personal sound.
Now, we're going to go into the part where we get to know you more as a person and where you come from, some of your influences and that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And let's start with 5 records that have been very influential to you and more important than the records. Why?
Okay. First of all, I will say LD50 from Mudvayne. That album is like is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite, but it's because of the sound of the bass, you know. And when I first listened that album, I was like so shocked because of the sound of the bass. It was so clear, but also had like the bass line was so jazzy, and I was not so used to that kind of music. So when I first listened to that album, was like, oh my god. And I was so young. I was like 30 or 14 years old, 14 years old, 13 and 14 years old, sorry, not 30. And yes, it was like a big influence for me. Also follow the leader from Korn because I'm into new metal. And what else? What else? ¿Y dónde jugarán las niñas from Molotov? I love the sound of the bass. I love the sound of the bass, and well, you know that album was like a super classic from the 90s in Mexico, and not only because of the sound, not because of the sound of that album, but for the topic, you know, that Molotov was like bringing to the population. like those protests against the system and everything. So I was so young when I first listened to that album, and I really love it. I'm still loving that album. What else? What else? Suffocation. Their album called Suffocation. It was also the first album that I listened from them, and I love the sound of every instrument. I was able to understand how each instrument was, like, what was doing in that record. Not like the last recordings, that was like more, was more like old school death metal, but this one, the sound and the production was way better. So I love that album because of the sound of everything. And what's the other one? Dirt from Alice in Chains. Yes, it's my favorite band from of grunge. And yes, I love that album. The
What's not to
guitars,
love?
the guitars from Jerry Cantrell. I'm super fan.
Tell me one record that is a guilty pleasure that most people wouldn't believe you like.
Guilty pleasure. I don't believe in guilty pleasures, but I would say Backstreet's Back from Backstreet Boys. Yes, it's Backstreet Boys is also part of my musical taste, and it goes further. I think. Yes, I mean we're from Mexico. We're Latin people, and we have here a lot of type of music. So I used to listen almost every type of music, even reggaeton. Like old school reggaeton. I like it. No, I don't have like an special record that I like from reggaeton, but some songs, yes, why not? And imagine, me trying to keeping myself listening to that metal all the time. No, it's not going to happen. So yes, a complete record that I would say that is my guilty pleasure is Backstreet's Back from Backstreet Boys.
Now, and probably you've seen a lot of live bands. Which are the three bands that you would say have the best live show?
Iron Maiden. Yes, their performance is amazing. Also Metallica, Slipknot. I Yes, Slipknot. I saw them live at Notfest here twice, and yes, Slipknot was really good, cool performance. Um, about Mexican bands, I would say Semican. Yes, Semican. I love their performance because of their costumes and the body paint that they are using. I like it, and also, when they are performing the rituals while they are playing, it's like a boost. So it also makes me proud to be Mexican, because they are bringing like our culture to their performance, which I like so much. And who else? El Gran Silencio. Yes, El Gran Silencio. I remember that we played together like 6 or 7 years ago, and yes, they are not like just four persons trying to perform something. They are like 8 or 10, and they were even playing with two drummers. It was great. The sound was great, and the people were like dancing the chuntaro style and everything. But the sound, you can really understand each one of them. So I was impressed by El Gran Silencio. Yes.
Now, recommend us three movies.
Three movies and Back to the Future, 1, 2, 3. I love Back to the Future, the first and the second one. And the fourth kind, that film from with Mila. What was her name? Mila.
Jovovich?
Yeah. Yes. It's a film. It's a movie about aliens because I love sci-fi. And another one, the Silence of the Lambs, a classic.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
for the people that still read, please recommend us one book.
one book, Brave New World. I think it's a classic also. Brave New World from Aldous Huxley. I love that album. It's just pure sci-fi, like a futurist dystopia. Um, it's a book where the society is like conditioned in order to be just happy. They don't want to feel any other like emotion, just happiness, and they are using drugs and everything. But the truth is that they are afraid to feel, no? And I love that book because I remember when I first read that book was like I was in high school, and I was impressed because that book was written like in the 30s, I guess. And in the book they said that the population was like the people was the people was like multiplying in test tubes, not like the normal way, the biological way. And it's funny because in that year when where that book was written, they didn't even know anything about DNA, because DNA was like discovered like 20 years after that. So that book was like so accurate, no? I like that book because of that. And yes, I recommend that book.
Now, let's go into the part where we talk about your international experience. And let's start with where have you played internationally?
We have played in the US and in Canada. Yes, New York City, and in Canada we've been in Quebec, in Ontario, and Nova Scotia. Trois Rivières is in Quebec.
Where do you have the most fans?
The most fans in Mexico. Yes, and in Latin America. In Mexico and in Latin America. Then North America. And then Europe, and we don't have a lot of a lot of followers in Asia. But yes, I think we're most known here in Latin America.
How do you interact with your fans all over the world?
Through social media. Yes, in Facebook, Instagram.
How does the technology help you widen your audience?
I think technology is an important tool, even more right now with the pandemic, that we are not able to play live, to share our music like physically with the people. So social media has been very important in the last months because of that. And we have like a posting calendar. So we try to keep in touch with our audience. We try to because we have to work also. So sometimes it's so complicated, but yes, we have, at least we're having a like a posting calendar on Facebook and on Instagram. We try to upload some live videos that we take when we are rehearsing together or when we are practicing together, that right now during the pandemic has been also so complicated. And yes, we try to create like some reaction to in our audience, so we can keep in touch with them, to make to it helps us a lot to understand what they want from us, for example.
Now, let's go into Mexico's perception. Now, how do you see Mexican metal perceived in other countries?
I think they are having a very good perception of the metal that we made here. We have been very lucky because people support us a lot, when we are playing in other countries, for example. And I think they appreciate the music that we made. But for example, Latino America, I think Mexican metal in Latino America has like a very strong presence. Mexico in Latin America has like a strong presence, even more than Mexico in North America. No, for example, when we were in New York City, I think like 95% of the people that were assisting to our shows were Latinos, you know? So they are consuming they are buying our music because they feel like this, they are empathic to us, you know? But for example, when we were in Canada, yes, all of them were from North America, well, from Canada. Uh, and they have like a good reaction of our music. Also, it was funny because some of them they knew some bands from Mexico. For example, we met one friend that he was a very super fan from Acidez. He was like crazy, like, hey, I love Acidez, and we played together and stuff. So another friend was talking about Voltax, for example, no, Majestic Downfall also. So I think Mexican metal is very well known. It's not well known. It's very good appreciated by people from another countries.
Tell me three Mexican bands that you think should be known globally.
Okay, the first one and my favorite one, Surgery. Surgery is my favorite Mexican death metal Mexican band. Mexican death metal band, yes. Yes, I love them. Our dear friends from Surgery. We grew up together, no? Yes, Surgery, the quality is on the over the top. The creative, they are so creative, and they are such a great musician. Who else? Calavera Azteca also. Calavera Azteca from Aguascalientes. And Del Barrio. No, Little Creation. Well, Del Barrio also, but Del Barrio is more known than, for example, Lethal Creation. So I will say Lethal Creation. Yes.
Okay. And what would you recommend to bands to increase their international exposure?
That's an excellent question. I think, first of all, you need to believe that you can do it. That you need to believe that you can do it. You need to understand. You need to set your mind, to set your goals, and believe that you can do it. Because if you are not able to believe that, it will be more difficult for you. So first of all, believe that you can do it. Then obviously you have to create a good quality music. You have to produce some videos, because through the videos, the people from another countries, for example, they can see you playing, not from people from here that are able to go to your shows. So creating good quality videos, I think, is a good idea if you want to increase your international exposure. Also, having a press kit is so important. Press kit in English, because sometimes I think that there's a barrier language between us, and as I already told you, like before, sometimes the barrier language is like a blockage that we are having, and it's a big problem. So you have to create like a press kit, or create content in English also, to increase your exposure. And what else? Keep going, keep trying. You have to be resistant, because it's complicated. Yes, it's complicated, but I think that perseverance and consistency are like the key. No, sometimes you are like trying to reach some people to show your music and everything, and they like are closing the door, and you are like, fuck, no, okay, I'm done. I will never play in another country. No, it's just part of the process, because it makes you even stronger. So keep going and show people your music, your stuff. Create music and albums with high quality. Create videos, having a press kit in English, and believe that you can do it. And that's all, I think.
We're reaching the end of the interview. What are you the most proud of in your career?
And my career, I think being able to inspire people. And I'm not talking about me as a musician, for example. I'm like talking about me as a teacher with my students, me as an engineer, me as a scientist. I think that I'm very proud of inspiring people or motivate people to that they are able to reach what they want to. So through the music, through my research, through my lessons with my students, it's like it's something that is priceless, because you feel like a lot of satisfaction in yourself. And yes, inspire and motivate people is what what I'm most proud of. And also I'm proud of myself because I've reached everything that I have like in my head, in my mind, which is amazing. I believe that hard work pays off. So so I'm proud of that also. But I think the most important is to inspire people and to motivate them.
Now,
Yes.
sadly, many people still haven't listened to Introtyl. So, for those people, which song would you recommend to them as a starting point for the band?
Which song? Only one song?
Only
No.
one song. Yeah. Which
Okay.
should be the first song from Introtyl they listen to?
First. Okay. Okay. One. Regresión. I will say that regresión because regresión it has like the sound that we had before that album, The Creation of Insanity, and the way that we were used to make music in that point is so similar as Regresión. But also Regresión has a different sound because of the production and everything. So you can see how we sound in the present moment. So I think Regresión is a good song to first knowing Introtyl. But I will say it's better to Regresión and Aggression. Regresión and Aggression, yes.
And now it's time to say goodbye. So, anything you want to say to your fans all over the world?
Uh, Thank you so much for listening to Introtyl. Hope to see you guys one day and have a nice day.
Perfect. So that's all for this episode of Metal Made in Mexico, and we'll see you the next time. Remember, there's a lot of quality in Mexico, and it's metal. So if you want to check out, you can check out our playlists in Spotify or playlists in YouTube, so that you can get to know a lot of the metal made in Mexico, which we say we're proud of.
Yes.
And thank you very much, Rose, and see you, everybody.